Hello and welcome to Wednesday Wandering with me, Cate Field. Wandering about stuff, not just wandering off. Each week we pause, we reflect and we explore creativity, spirituality and the beauty of living thoughtfully in the world. So whether you are listening with your tea or your sketchbook or your walking shoes, I am so pleased you are here. I really hope you are well. I am a little bit wheezy actually, so my apologies. There is a moment, perhaps you felt it, when you step outside and the air carries a kind of invitation. Maybe it's the smell of rain on the leaves, or the way a path disappears into trees, or the crunch of gravel underfoot. The world becomes, just for a moment, more than a background. It becomes a guide. And this week I'm exploring the idea of nature as pilgrimage, of walking as a spiritual and creative act. So whether it's a daily stroll or a hike along a windy cliff or a remembered path from childhood, walking in nature has a way of loosening our minds and opening our hearts. Have you ever heard of Faltonia Betitia Proba? She was a Roman noblewoman from the 4th century, at a time when Christian and classical traditions were interweaving. Proba did something extraordinary. She took the works of Virgil, Rome's great poet of the empire, and she rewove them into a Christian narrative. Her Cento Virgilianus de Laudibus Christi is a kind of literary pilgrimage. A cento is a patchwork poem created by stitching together existing lines from other poets, so think of it like a collage in words. Proba used Virgil's epic descriptions of nature, gods and the mythic journeys to tell the story of Genesis and the life of Christ. She was quite extraordinary, and this cento is an astonishing act of devotional creativity. She used only the lines from Virgil to retell a Christian story from, as I said, Genesis to Christ's crucifixion. All the words are borrowed, but she weaves them all together to form this kind of poetic collage, centuries ahead of her time. She was walking wild paths, repurposing male-dominated literary forms to shape her own. Her voice comes through her devotion. It was a kind of a devotional remixing. But this fascinates me because we can look at something that's very familiar, but in a completely different way, and we can change the purpose. Another fantastic woman I'd like to talk about. We're moving to the early 19th century now, in the beauty of the Lake District, Dorothy Wordsworth. She's often remembered simply as the sister of William, but she was a wonderful writer in her own right. Dorothy Wordsworth didn't seek publication. She wasn't interested in that. She wrote to remember, to record and to reflect, and her Grassmere journals are filled with quiet moments, walking beside the tarn, collecting wild flowers, observing clouds and moonlight. She once wrote, "I never saw daffodils so beautiful. They looked as if they really danced." Dorothy's walks were not grand pilgrimages, but they were daily devotions. Her attention to the smallest thing, a drop of dew, a crooked path, the song of a robin. They feel utterly contemporary in its mindfulness, and she reminds us that the sacred is not only at the destination, but all along the way. For Dorothy, the joy was not in crafting poems for the public. It was in the walking, the looking, the being. Her words feel like breath on the page. Walking has long held spiritual significance in the Christian tradition. Pilgrimage is not just physical but symbolic, a way of stepping outside of the ordinary and journeying towards something deeper. Think of the Camino de Santiago, or the tradition of walking the labyrinth in prayer. Jesus himself was often on foot, walking beside the lakes and through olive groves and across the dusty roads. But in pagan and druidic traditions, the land itself is sacred. The walk is not towards a shrine or through it, but it's through the landscape, through the forest, by the river. The stones aren't symbols, they are the divine. Walking becomes an act of reverence. And both perspectives offer something profound, I think. I think our belief we're moving through this world is not meaningless, is it? Each step that we take matters. And I've always found that walking is like a homecoming. There's something about the rhythm of feet on the earth, the sound of wind in the trees that untangles my thoughts, and some of my most creative ideas have arrived when I've just been walking. Not when I was trying to be clever or productive, but when I just let myself wander. And in recent years I found myself drawn more and more to the idea of the pilgrimage close to home. A short walk with full attention can be just as holy and sacred as a long trek with aching feet, because what matters is presence and the invitation to listen. So whether you're walking under summer skies or winter skies, the path belongs to you. Whether it's bare trees and low light, the sound of frost, or those spring bird songs that wake me up at 4:30 in the morning. Every step is a promise. Spring will return in the winter. That's after the winter, that's what we know. So I have a couple of invitations for you. A cento creation, like a patchwork path. Choose a poem or a piece of text that you love, and cut out the lines and phrases or single words and rearrange them into something new. A poem, perhaps, that reflects your own journey. You could add drawings and doodles, or pressed leaves and flowers, or thread to create a textual collage. Let Faltonia Proba be your guide and make beauty from what already exists. Or you could create a little map, not necessarily accurate, of a walk that you've done, something close to you. It could be a real path through the woods, or a symbolic route through your creative life. You could include landmarks, a stone of sorrow, a bend of joy, a well of ideas. Illustrate or embellish however you like, and let it be personal and playful and meaningful. Faltonia Proba walked through ancient texts and wove them into something holy. Dorothy Wordsworth walked her Cumbrian lanes with a notebook in hand and deep joy in her heart. And you and I, we walk too. Maybe not far, maybe not fast, but every step we take with intention is part of the sacred path. So walk slowly this week. Let nature speak. Let your heart answer. And remember, the way is made by walking. Thank you so much, you lovely people, for joining me in this week's Wednesday Wandering. May your feet find soft ground and your heart find space to breathe, and your creativity bloom like the wild flowers beside the road. So until next time, take care and keep wandering. Bye-bye.